Hi guys, this is Twin Peaks Twin Perspective. I'm Joe.
I'm James.
And tonight we're going to be doing Twin Perspective Simple Movie Spot. We're going to answer 10 simple movie questions inspired by Grumpy Andrew's Horror House.
Grumpy.
And once we answer these 10 simple questions about film, you're going to know so much more about us. It's going to tell you quite a bit.
Yeah, well, it'll tell you what to go rent if you haven't seen it, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you guys are all Twin Peaks fans, so you probably recognize a lot of this. These are our favorites. 10 simple questions. Question number 1. What is your favorite film and your least favorite film? You want to go first?
Both?
We'll do favorites first. Your favorite film of all time?
Of course, all films are subjective, and opinions usually change 4 or 5 times throughout the year. But consistently, my all-time favorite movie is Jaws. There was no internet, but the backstory of that movie is famous. It was famous. It was written. The Trouble with the Shark. But the great filming, the great acting, and the great score. This is probably my all-time favorite director-composer collaboration as well. And I do not go swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. Jaws is number 1.
Favorite film of all time, Jaws. Yeah, that's actually my second favorite film of all time, Jaws. My favorite film of all time is Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me.
Here we go.
It is. David Lynch is my favorite director. We'll get to that too. And I love all of his films.
Spoilers.
And to me, Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me is the perfect film. He did it the way it had to be done. He told a story about Laura, who is the one. She started it all for Twin Peaks. And he told the story the way it needed to be told. It was a nightmarish descent into hell, and powered by Sheryl Lee's performance and Ray Wise. The music, the sound, the way it was all utilized. Perfect film. Great effort. Lynch's best. That's what I think. And it's my favorite film of all time.
Close second for me was The Fisher King.
Yeah, Fisher
I don't
King's
know.
number 3 for me.
I don't know if that'll get mentioned. If it'll get mentioned in any of our lists, but cannot let this moment slide without saying The Fisher King.
Yeah,
It's one of the, it's
directed by
we don't have an
Gilliam.
overrated or underrated category, but the most underrated movie of all time.
Yeah, I suggest that to others to watch more than anything. The Fisher King by Terry Gilliam. I'm sure you've seen it once and you've forgotten all about it. Great story
For
of
the
redemption.
performances, man.
Robin Williams, Jeff Bridges. Check that one out. That's a great film.
All right.
All right, now your least favorite film.
Oh.
So many.
Ah.
So many bad movies. I mean, just about anything produced by
Do we talk about
Sci-Fi
this?
Network.
Because it's like 1 and 1A for me.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. 1 and 1A.
The Blair Witch Project was a movie I left the theater believing it was real. Went home, went to a friend's house and printed out this backstory of the Blair Witch Project, believing it, only to see on the TV that the cast of Blair Witch Project was going to be on David Letterman the next night. It's like they're supposed to be dead. And that coupled that, which pissed me off, and it started a genre that 3 movies have been good so far.
Oh yeah,
the whole found footage genre. I mean,
Security
in one
camera
hand
footage.
you can hold the security footage,
right, running around
films.
with a handheld.
and the fact that it overtook Halloween as the most the best
Highest
grossing independent. That is what really pisses me off about the movie and puts it at number 1. But the worst movie, because I did say I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah,
I
you
just
enjoyed
hate it.
the Blair Witch Project when you watched it because you thought it was all real.
But I hate it.
And now you hate it now.
But one I just hated, and it was from a director, Tobe Hooper, who you would, is like Joel Schumacher. You got some of your favorite films and then some of the worst films ever made. Crocodile, directed by Tobe Hooper. And it's like a sci-fi original, kind of, but it's, oh God, awful script. I mean, you wouldn't even want to begin to film this script. And it's in Jurassic Park 3 too. She gets a crocodile egg and puts it in her backpack, and so the whole movie, this crocodile wants its egg back. Their boat's sinking. They're jumping in the water, swimming to land with a crocodile in hot pursuit, and she's still got her backpack on because I guess she needs her school books or whatever. She sure wasn't going in there for rations. It was just ridiculous. And it was Tobe Hooper. It was like, bad boy. Now I know why Steven Spielberg was hanging around the set of Poltergeist. What was your favorite or least favorite movie?
Well, I want to mention the Blair Witch Project because when I saw it, I knew it was fake. And I went to get up and leave about halfway through the movie. And the girl I was with said, no, sit down. We're going to finish watching it. And about 10 minutes later, she got up to leave. And I said, no, you said we're going to watch it. And then right when it ended, right before they started rolling the credits, we both got up and said, screw this. And we started walking out and they started rolling the credits. And we, but anyway, I hated that movie. And I hate what it's done to the genre for sure. But my least favorite film is Deep Blue Sea. Because as bad as Jaws 4 was, and that could be on this list for sure, Deep Blue Sea was just awful from beginning to end. It bothered me on so many levels at every moment throughout the entire film, down to the ending. I don't know how I made it to the end. And that's going to be, if I had to pick one, Deep Blue Sea. Least favorite film. God, Jesus, why?
This is all subjective.
Yes, of course. Some of you guys might love these films.
We have our reasons.
Question number 2 is, what is your favorite actor and actress? Who's your favorite actor?
Growing up, most of my life, Jack Nicholson. And there's no arguing. Whether, I know you didn't pick Al Pacino or Daniel Day-Lewis or Robert De Niro or these greatest names ever that usually come up. I think Jack Nicholson kicks all of their asses. He's been around too long. He slowed down. He as good as it gets was as good as it's been. and so taking over the mantle of my current favorite actor is Michael Keaton. He never went away. People just didn't hire him. He never was bad in anything he ever did. From the first moment we saw him in Night Shift, Love Brokers, to Game 6, which no one ever saw.
You gotta see Game 6.
Michael Keaton and Robert Downey Jr. It's called Game 6. He's a playwright. And he has his play is going on, and the biggest critic's going to be there. But he wants to watch Game 6 of the World Series, and it's a day in his life of, do I go watch the game or do I go to my play? And he's just a great actor. He's always been a great actor. And you find these little movies that he's in, rent them. But Michael Keaton is my number one favorite. James Woods held the mantle for a little while, and Nicolas Cage held the mantle for a little while. Around the Vampire's Kiss, Too Wild at Heart. That little section, which, Raising Arizona was one that I eventually watched, but I would say that little area.
Yeah, and then, the Academy recognizes someone like Nicolas Cage when they do a film like Leaving Las Vegas, where he actually gets recognized by the Academy. But you recognize that he was a good actor, and you saw it in all these other movies. I mean, Raising Arizona and everything else. I mean, Nicolas Cage has worked with just about every great director there is. I don't think he ever did anything with Kubrick. Oh, well. You missed that chance.
But Keaton, who's your favorite?
My favorite actor, and I think it's all like, there's 100 of them that can do anything. I think that you could have Jack Nicholson in this hand and Bruce Campbell in this hand and be like, okay, who best suits the role? You know, you got to give it to the younger guy or whatever. So it's, you know, but I love each equally, right? And I think they're both capable of doing anything. All of these actors you were mentioning, plus Anthony Hopkins and Morgan Freeman, I mean, they can all do anything. Morgan Freeman played the president, and we didn't even blink an eye. So what happens is it comes down to who do I want to recognize, and that's Ray Wise.
Here we go.
Ray Wise is my favorite actor. He can do anything. He's genetically fit for the camera. He doesn't even have to move a muscle, and he shows expression. And then when he starts to actually show expression, it blows me away. He blows the camera up. Ray Wise is the best. He can do anything. I love you, Ray.
That's a good one.
Okay, now best actress. Favorite actor.
Favorite, yeah. Best, you see, it's nuts.
Yeah, we're not doing best. We're doing favorites. There's
Growing
always
up,
favorites for me.
Growing up, and I think almost through high school, I always said Jamie Lee Curtis, Sigourney Weaver, and Linda Hamilton. Those are my favorite Spankies. Those are my favorite, you know, horror genre. Those three actresses, James Cameron, they all three worked with James Cameron.
Jamie Lee, Sigourney, and Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, that was growing up. And people looked at me like I was crazy. Like, none of them got titties. I'm like, come on. But people thought Jamie Lee Curtis was a man until she showed her, you know, in Trading Places.
Physical or fitness or whatever.
Yeah, she
Perfect.
That's why she got naked in Trading Places. That's a rumor. I can remember before those three, Goldie Hawn was my favorite as a child, as a kid.
And she is phenomenal.
And Madeline Kahn. As far as comedic, you know, favorite comedic actors of all time. That's Madeline Kahn. But I had to say my favorite actress, of course, it's Laura Dern. It's Laura Dern. I'll watch her cry in every movie. I mean, any movie, which is every movie. I'll watch her cry. And I got to work with her twice. Got to work with her for 2 days. She's sweet. She's accommodating. She's beautiful. She's not Pamela Anderson sized. So once again, I have my preference, and I prefer long, slender necks.
And her acting's pretty good too, right?
Yeah, that's what we're judging here. That's true.
Favorite actress, Laura Dern.
That's what I'm going with.
All right, my favorite actress, I'm going with Cheryl Lee. Here we go.
Here we go.
She hasn't been in enough starring roles in feature films. If you guys get a chance to see Angels Dance, you should. She played in that with Jim Belushi. And you see how great of an actress she is. Everything she's been in, she's done perfectly. But this performance in Fire Walk With Me would have killed any actress or actor, and she nailed it. And I'm always going to hold that place in my heart. That was the best performance, and I think she's got the chops to do it to this day. We know she's got one of the greatest screams in cinema history. Jamie Lee's is pretty good too.
They say you're not supposed to meet your heroes.
Really?
You met Cheryl Lee.
And Ray Wise.
And Ray Wise.
And got pictures with him and autographs and everything.
And it all worked out. And they were just as nice can be.
So that's it. That's my favorite actor and actress. So far it's all Twin Peaks from me. Huh? All right, speaking of Twin Peaks, question number 3 is, who's your favorite director?
You might as well go first.
I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say David Lynch, because he's my favorite director. No one else even comes close. You know, I think my second favorite would be the Coen brothers. I love everything they've done. And this is really a screenplay director marriage that you get with the Coen brothers, and you also get that with Lynch. He's written, or at least been contributing to the screenplay and everything he's done, but mostly it's his own crazy mind. And I like when he works with other writers. I like what he does with Frost. I think my favorite screenplay ever was Wild at Heart, and then Blue Velvet after that. So I love Lynch as a screenplay writer too, no doubt about it. But he is my favorite director. The only movie he ever did that I didn't absolutely love was Inland Empire. I've seen it maybe 3 times. Everything else Lynch has ever released or directed, as soon as I acquired it, I watched it multiple times on a loop. So that's the only knock on Inland Empire. I don't want to revisit that as much as everything else. And there's no other director that I do that with. Spielberg has movies I've never even seen. The Coen brothers actually have a couple I've never seen. But Lynch, I've seen them all, and I've seen them multiple times. All right, David Lynch, favorite director. What about you? Favorite director?
My opinion, greatest director is Stanley Kubrick. Favorite director, I have to give it to Steven Spielberg. Maybe it's just the time, place, the 80s.
Yep.
Jaws, Close Encounters, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Every time there was a need, any of the greatest, well, Amistad, stuff like that you don't want to. I haven't seen Schindler's List because I don't want to put myself through it. But I
Your
finally
favorite director of all time is Steven Spielberg, and you've never seen Schindler's List.
No. Therefore, I can't make an intelligent decision on which was a better movie that year, Jurassic Park or Schindler's List.
I love Jurassic.
Jurassic Park didn't get nominated. It's nominated in my awards that year. But finally watched Amistad, everything, Lincoln, everything that he still does.
Mm-hmm.
He changes slightly, but there are movies that you think of Steven Spielberg that he didn't direct, like Goonies, Richard Donner, Gremlins, Joe Dante. What's the other one? Poltergeist, Tobe Hooper.
Yeah.
They're all Spielberg movies.
Yeah, people would consider them Spielberg movies, and there's an influence of Spielberg in each of those directors. Too bad Hooper didn't keep it.
The first big blockbuster, right?
Yeah, and you were mentioning the early hits, and you didn't mention E.T. That was like everybody's favorite, I guess. But
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Close Encounters was the adult, through the adult eyes. Aliens through the adult eyes, and E.T.'s Aliens through the kids' eyes. I didn't care for E.T., and we saw that twice in the theater. Because the ad was so big in the paper.
The guy that did Forrest Gump, Zemeckis, he did Back to the Future.
Yeah,
another one in the 80s, and that was another one that Spielberg heavily influenced.
That was it. He owned my childhood. He is my favorite director of all time. And Ready Player One looks like it's going to be cool.
Yeah, so Spielberg's in my top 5 for sure.
Now, currently, because I worked with Cary Fukunaga, and the only really 2 things he's done have been like Denis Villeneuve, blah, blah, blah. That guy, he's probably like on the top of everyone's current list of
I got you.
Number 1 directors. Cary Fukunaga to me would be number 1 on my list if I had to get someone to direct. But my favorite director I worked with was Ramin Bahrani, and he was Roger Ebert's favorite director from 2000 to 2010 before Roger passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And he's currently Ramin's currently in New Orleans filming Fahrenheit 451. Right? 451? 351? 451? It's a novel. You guys know what it's about. It's going to be politically driven.
It's probably going to be really good.
Michael B. Jordan and Michael Shannon, I think are in it. Anyway.
Yeah, there's some up and comers that, be cool to pick if you had to do a film and pick a director. Lynch has still got it, man. Lynch said he wants to stick with TV, so hopefully he'll just keep pushing out Twin Peaks. That's my hope. All right, number 4, the question is, what is your favorite film genre? You want to go first? I'll go first.
No, I think it's the same for both of us.
Okay, growing up, it was horror films, slasher films.
Horror films. Me too.
And we saw all of it before we should have. We saw The Exorcist when we were like 4 or 5, and then, everything as it was released, so Amityville Horror. And then when the 80s came, it was Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every year they came out with
We
one.
saw Alien a little earlier than we should have.
Yeah, we were probably 6 or 7 when we saw Alien.
From behind the couch.
7. We were 7 when we saw it.
Jeez.
Yeah. So we grew up on horror films, and it was great. And we loved prosthetics and makeup, and Tom Savini was a hero of ours. And when we watched a horror film, we expected a certain structure. We had to have full-blown frontal gratuitous nudity.
That's number one.
And we had to have kids having sex. And
Yeah.
we had to have incredible kills that were in front of the camera that weren't just suggested. We wanted to see the gore. And if you didn't provide with a memorable kill, something that looked believable through prosthetics and makeup, then
Practical.
we wasn't going to like it. So that was how it was for me growing up. And then all of a sudden, as we got older, horror movies took a turn. Blair Witch had a lot to do with that. All of a sudden, it was a different kind of thing. Plus, there was torture porn, which didn't have the same effect on me, the scariness or the,
I wouldn't.
Jason killed people and then he hung them up as decoration. He didn't toy with them and torture them. And, so.
It's getting off on the screens, and it's like I have to kill them after a minute just because I'm tired of hearing you scream.
Right.
It's just annoying. It's annoying.
So horror.
The gore's great.
Horror, yeah, the gore's great.
But just do a zombie movie, I guess, instead. But they don't do slasher movies good anymore. It breaks my heart.
Right. David Lynch is a great director when it comes to horror because he doesn't fiddle around with it. When he shows a kill, it's a kill and it's gross and it's always a brain or something laying around. So, so now horror is not my favorite genre. I'm more into psychological horror because I think that works more on my psyche. That brings the scares more to me. And if you have a kill or a slasher scene, then it has to be done well enough to affect me.
I guess the only that would be ghost stories too.
Yes, anything supernatural about demons or ghosts or aliens or UFOs, it kind of ventures into sci-fi, but it all has to be on a psychological level as well as what's actually happening, the action.
The other genre I would have to mention is action comedy. Growing up, whether it was 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop, Stripes even is an action comedy.
Right.
It just those.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Those are just they're great. They stand the test of time. Even at 21 Jump Street, if you want to go Central Intelligence or just a genre that you're going to enjoy and have fun with. The Hey of the Hitman's Bodyguard is pretty hilarious.
Okay, so action comedy is right there with you.
It's right there because comedies you can't go wrong with comedy. I mean, you can go wrong with comedy, but when you get a good comedy, nothing beats. It's even better than horror. But an action comedy, you get the best of both genres, and action by itself just doesn't do it for me at all. You're never going to see me going to see Kickboxer or anything like that.
No, just Fast and the Furious movies, I don't think I've ever watched one of them.
You got to be a good story. I saw the MMA, wasn't The Fighter, with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, the Warrior. It's called Warrior. And I would have never watched it if I didn't have to do a scene for acting class, but it was a lot like Rocky, which meant it was a good story. And the MMA is what stopped me from going to see it. And then glad I got to watch it. You're not going to get me in there with, I love Jet Li, but you're not going to get me in even John Wick until I heard John Wick was good. Then you'll get me in.
Okay, so you're talking about pure action.
Yeah, just pure action. Yeah, it's just not.
So your favorite genre is still horror?
Yeah, still horror.
Okay, so basically, I like all kinds of movies. I'll watch comedies, anything like that. But what happens is something becomes available to me, and I have my pick of what to watch. I'm going to grab the psychological horror movie before all the other ones. I'll find the time to watch the comedy or the action later on, but I have to watch the psychological drama now.
Usually on Netflix, I'll go to the horror section, find something to pass out to.
So that's your genre. Horror.
Yeah, I'm always grading them, even if it's a 3.
Even if you know it's going to be bad.
A 2, a 3, or a 4. It's nice to know whether it's a 2 or a 4. Then you luck out and get a 5 or a 6 every now and then.
Oh, out of 10.
Right. But for short Netflix hits, it's comedy all the way. When you think you're gonna pass out soon, the nothing beats a nice little 30 minutes of laughing at Family Guy.
Okay, the next question is number 5. What is your favorite horror movie? Okay, so the first question we have to ask is Jaws a horror movie?
Right.
If Jaws is considered a horror movie, then that would be our favorite, because that you guys know what our favorite movies are. So if it's not Jaws, we have to go with strictly, yes, this is definitely a horror movie. Everybody knows it's a horror movie. Then I'm going with The Exorcist.
I'm going with The Exorcist.
We saw it when we were too damn young. I can't even see the makeup without getting a little freaked out. So
Dick Smith.
that's going to have an effect. The Exorcist is going to affect me like no other film will ever again, because I'm not 4 anymore, and the horrors and scares not going to be the same. So I got to pick that one. You know, anytime it's on, I'm going to watch it, and it freaks me out every damn time.
Whether you believe or not in God, Exorcism of Emily Rose freaked me out. It got close. You know, nothing will ever freak me out, like you said, like Exorcist, because
they all aspire to be Exorcist.
No reason to be watching that at our age. We didn't even go to kindergarten yet, and we had seen that movie.
Yeah. Well, Mom said, "Don't watch it," and we said, "Okay." And when she walked out the room, we changed the channel.
Oh, didn't even know what she was saying. The C word.
No, we didn't know what.
Cussing and
Yeah. All I know is her head spun backwards.
And furniture moved. Then you can't lock your doors and stop that.
Yeah, so all other demon movies, possession movies, they all go back to The Exorcist. Now, I have favorite horror movies that are kind of like horror comedies and come real close to rivaling how much I love The Exorcist. Evil Dead 2 is one I have to mention. Evil Dead Part 2.
And Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead is a classic. Yes.
Those two probably favorite horror comedies.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 for me is close.
That was pretty good. That was fun.
What about your favorite slasher horror? It's so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of the slasher genre, our favorite, mine is Friday the 13th.
Yeah, my favorite slasher collection is Friday the 13th, even though I hated everything past Part 6.
But I think my favorite slasher movie, just no offense to the originals, Halloween, Elm Street, Friday the 13th, but Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors, is probably my favorite movie of the. It was just, to me, it was perfect. It was perfect story. I enjoyed the Rehitten and anyway. Oh,
so that's your favorite slasher movie?
Yeah, I was trying to think of it, because my favorite Friday the 13th movie goes between Part 2 and Part 6.
That's you.
That's me.
My favorite slasher movie is Friday the 13th Part 3. That's when Jason gets the mask. I love all the kills. I love how it ended. So if I had to pick a favorite slasher, Friday the 13th Part 3. And then I would go with 1, and then 6, and then 2, and then 4, and then 5.
Jenny! I love my Jenny. Favorite body horror movie is The Thing.
What did you say?
Body horror.
Body horror.
Cronenberg, kind of Naked Lunch. But that wasn't a horror film. But you get the body horror part of it. Anything Cronenberg is body horror.
Anything Cronenberg is actually horror.
Moving on.
Moving on. Number 6, the question is, what is your favorite animated movie? And there's different kinds of animation. So if you're talking about stop motion animation, I've got to go with The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Directed by Henry Selick.
And
that's mine too, stop motion.
If you're going with actual art, animation drawn on paper, I'm going way back classic to the 70s with Watership Down.
And that's what I say, Watership Down.
Her favorite animated, drawn animated.
It's just a beautiful thing to look at. The soundtrack.
Watership Down is something that doesn't go out of time for me. If
The
you
voice
guys get
actors.
a chance to watch it. It's great.
It's awesome. I also wrote down.
And then we have, hand drawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I Married a Strange Person.
Yeah, that was good.
Bill Plimpton.
That was funny.
I wrote it down because I'd never seen it when I first saw it. I don't know how available it is now. But Bill Plimpton is, it's great art, and it's very, very strange. And, well, he gets his powers because two birds are banging each other in the sky and orgasm into a satellite dish, which causes a zap of electricity at the back of his head, and so begins his journey. And that's how the movie started, and it's about an hour and 15 minutes. You should check it out.
And the other animation is computer animation, and I don't know, there's been a lot of great movies like that.
Toy Stories.
I don't know if South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, is hand-drawn or would be considered computer. It's kind of like a mix between the two. But I'll go with Shrek Part 2 for my favorite computer-generated animation.
Why not?
I like Shrek 2. That was good. I also like Toy Story 3 a lot. But I'm going to go with Shrek 2 for that. But if I had to pick a favorite out of all the animated put together, it would be Watership Down.
Animal Olympics.
I love Animal Olympics.
Me too.
But yeah, Watership Down would be my favorite.
Watership Down, number 1. Show it on Easter in some places. They show it on Easter in some places. They get complaints. It's like a BBC channel or somewhere as they play it all day long.
That's a deep movie, man. Check out Watership Down. I mean, it is not your typical furry little bunny tale.
I just wanted to show you the other side of the bunny. Jack Rabbit Hole. Jump all around that hole.
It's such a good movie. You guys check that one out if you haven't. Okay, question number 7. What is your favorite soundtrack or score? Your favorite soundtrack or score? Now, I'm not going to think about favorite compilation of songs made into a soundtrack like your Pretty in Pink. I'm not going to separate that from actual score, film.
My favorite
music.
soundtrack.
But if you want to separate the two, you can.
I did.
All right. Well, I'm going to say my favorite because it's my favorite record album of all time. It's the music to Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ by Peter Gabriel. That's my favorite album ever. If you guys haven't bought it and listened to it 100,000 times, then you're selling yourself short. Go out and buy it right now. It's a singular, beautiful musical experience.
On its own and in the movie.
Right. It affects the movie perfectly as well as on its own. You listen to it and get lost in the finger cymbals and the different instruments going on, and you'll have a great time. The Last Temptation of Christ. Nothing else comes close. All right, what do you got?
Man, it's so hard not to say that one.
Peter Gabriel's the man.
I had the best sex of my life to that album.
I was going to say that if you don't have that album and you're not playing it while you're enjoying time with your partner.
I was like, was it me, you, or the music? She's like, I think it was the acid. I wrote down favorite score. I wrote down Beetlejuice. Danny Elfman. You got the beginning. Daylight come and we wanna go. Okay. And then the only other two, because they're like, that I cannot get out of this without mentioning
Star Wars.
No, I'm not going
Well, I'm
there.
going to mention Star Wars because it's probably the most famous and popular ever.
Yeah,
And you got to give credit where credit is due.
it is definitely due.
Yeah, that's right there at the top with all of them. And I'm also going to mention Fire Walk With Me because that's just amazing. But that goes in with sound too. Okay, but what else?
The soundtrack, Friday the 13th. The score to
My
Friday the
God.
13th. People always just think, it's like, are you kidding me? Just a guitar. Blum, 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 blum. And then you get into the crazy violin.
The strings.
Yeah. Oh, man. And it works so well in an action movie. If you watch Wes Craven's Swamp Thing, it's the same composer, and it's basically the same soundtrack, and it works so well because that's not a horror movie; it's a comic movie, it's an action movie,
Right. Wes Craven.
And the music goes so well, perfect with a horror movie.
Take that Friday the 13th soundtrack and put it to any movie you're watching, and it will kick it up a notch.
Brokeback Mountain.
God, that's a great call, man. And you know, and I when I hear the soundtrack to Friday the 13th, I think of Psycho and what they were doing with the strings there.
Yeah.
And it's an homage to that. But I hear all these other films do it a lot now, other composers, and I just get the feeling they're ripping off Friday the 13th. They're probably all ripping off Psycho, but the Friday the 13th is different. It's ultimate. God, it's so good. There's those moments when they're walking slow in the woods, and you hear the bing, 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 and it's like, and then when the chase goes on, oh my God, so good. All right.
And the little renditions. We don't want to forget about the.
Oh, that when you get to the 80s. Well, then they ruined it after that. That was
Shout out to you, Grumpy. That's
he's the good call, but still doesn't touch Last Temptation of Christ for me, or Beetlejuice for me.
It's tough to beat. Heard all of them on acid. I mean, they all sound like you're on acid when you listen to them. That's what I meant.
Oh yeah,
that's what I meant.
I'm too old for that crap. All right, question number 8. What is your best cinematic experience? And I'm going to assume this is the best experience you had in a theater.
That's not a porn. not a triple X. Not a.
Okay, well, there's 2 that I want to mention specifically. The first is when I saw South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, and I'm sitting there about to watch a South Park movie. It starts, and then the kids go into a theater to watch a Terrence and Phillip movie, and I thought I just got pumped. And the movie starts with Terrence and Phillip, and I didn't want it to end. And by the time they're singing in the street, farting, what's going on here? I was losing it. I was laughing so hard. I've never laughed so much at a movie. And so I have to mention that one. But then I'm also going to mention Friday the 13th Part 5. So what was your favorite?
I don't know if you were there. You had to have been there.
I took you to see South Park after I saw it by myself. You have to see this.
And you see, you were laughing at the religious, because you'd seen it.
I saw it the first time.
So the shock value wore off.
The
first time, it's just shocking. You fucking bastard. I spit on you.
And I was the only one in the theater laughing.
And we're all like, now it's funny, but at first it's like, you look around like.
Right, I didn't laugh at it the first time. I was like, oh my God. You're the biggest bitch of them all. It's funny now. Okay.
Well, actually, I got 5 movies written down for best cinematic experience.
Okay, if you've got 5, then I'm going to mention the one other one real quick. Friday the 13th, Part 5.
And okay, well, that was one of them.
Okay, so Friday.
We were both there.
We were way too young to be in a theater. We were 14. The theater was packed, and it was so packed that there were people standing up behind the last row because they wasn't going to miss this opportunity to see this movie. And it was that big, Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. And what was unique about the experience is everyone was on board and they were ready to go where the movie was taking them. So every direction the film took the audience, we were right along for the ride, and everyone in unison. And they were rowdy and they were loud and they were screaming when you were supposed to scream. And it was just one of those experiences I'm never going to forget.
Body count was pretty high, too.
Yeah, lots of good kills and
lots of brothers and sisters in the audience screaming at just every little thing, so that made it even funnier.
And when the kid saw the mask and he said, "Solid," the audience went, "As a rock." Because we're in the mid-'80s, everyone knew the song. It was one of those experiences.
What was his name? The kid.
Tommy?
No, Jerome? No.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Oh, man, it pisses me off.
A little bit or something.
Yeah.
Biscuit. I don't
He comes through on the bulldozer.
On the bulldozer.
And runs and hits
when he crashed through on the bulldozer and hits
crowd
the
with
fake Jason, it's like everybody just
because they were screaming and he's wiping the rain off as he's driving, you know. I mean, the guy could have crawled out of the way. But anyway, we were too busy screaming and just
ooh baby,
ooh baby,
baby, baby,
ooh baby. Miguel A. Nunez.
Miguel Nunez, he died in the shitter.
Yes, and you know what? We had 3 people get up off toilets in the Friday the 13th series
That didn't
and
wipe.
not wipe. Now, the first 2 actually left the shitter, so they're done. I mean, they're done. You knew they weren't. Now, Miguel.
He hadn't left.
He pulled his pants up. I'm gonna get you, bitch.
But he didn't wipe.
But he didn't leave either.
And
he was
had
just, you know,
burritos that day.
he was ready. Enchiladas.
That's right. It was enchiladas.
Miguel Nunez, also in Return of the Living Dead.
Yes, and
We-
Joanna Man.
We have our own remix of Miguel A. Nunez. Just quotes. Just give me a beat.
Oh my God,
Oh man, he's got some great ones.
I'll bust that damn bitch in the head.
I'll bust in the damn head.
That's it. I'll bust in the damn head. Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll bust in the damn head.
Damn enchiladas. I'm gonna get you, bitch.
Miguel Nunez. Shout out to Miguel. Okay, so we're actually
Joanna Man. Yeah, that's Joanna Man.
So we're actually talking about. Oh, and he was one of them on Harlem Nights too, right? He was one of the crew that got shot. Okay,
Here's the one next to Arsenio Hall.
so what's your other favorite cinematic experiences? Those are my.
I have to mention Evil Dead 2 because I was a sophomore in high school, and it was a double date. Me and a buddy of mine with 2 seniors, and we just thought we were, you know, just the studs. And we took them to see Evil Dead 2, which was, you know, should have been a problem. But we thought they were going to get scared and we were going to be able to cuddle. And it was going to lead to, you know, possible losing our virginities. But
Not me. I wasn't there. I didn't see this at the theater.
that was me and Chris down to buy it. And I can't mention the girls' names.
No, can't.
But we laughed from beginning to end, and it was safer for me and him because we were virgins and we're kind of scared to go there anyway. So it was a lot better just laughing and oh my goodness, but it was a great date for virgins. I mentioned Tremors because
I was there with you that night.
yeah, that was special on its own. It wasn't the crowd being rowdy, but the number one rowdiest, favoriteest movie cinema experience for me was Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Jesus.
There was one of the few movies that everyone was cheering when they got up and left.
Oh yeah.
And cheering throughout the whole thing. And just as much as you do today, the music, the Michael J. Fox was in every scene except for one, that entire movie.
Yeah, he
owned
owned
that
that movie. God, Michael J. He deserved the award that year for best.
There's nobody that did a better job that year for Best Actor than Michael J. Fox. And then going to work at Family Ties, and coming and working during the day, and then going there and working at night.
Now, when Christopher Lloyd's hanging onto the clock, on the clock tower, and the plug is stuck to his pant leg, and he's trying to pull his leg up to grab the plug, I was in the theater pulling my leg up, and I realized I was doing it, and that's how into the moment. That's such a good movie. It's the best movie of '85.
Raiders of the Lost Ark was a great theater experience, but we were so young, I didn't understand the plot.
Yeah, I didn't understand the adult underlying themes.
Just knew you were having a really good time.
Yeah, that was the best
Just
action.
as long as he was
we had seen.
falling down and making faces, we were happy.
Grabbing his hat.
No wonder we love Ash Williams so much.
Oh yeah, Bruce Campbell, man, props, brother.
Anyway, I didn't mention Austin Powers 2 because that was a great time as well. But
Oh yeah, you went with some friends.
yeah, I'm thinking more of afterwards. We went to the bar, and anytime you heard the word "baby" in a song, you had to take a drink. And
Oh my God.
yeah, Casey and the Sunshine Band, "Give It Up" came on. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up, baby, give it up.
Oh my God.
Na 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 na. Oh shit, give me another one. Baby, give it,
Baby. Just gonna go on with Motown after that. The one other cinematic experience I will mention is my wife and I saw Step Brothers in the movie, and we'd gone to see quite a few movies. We've gone to see 100 movies together, and that was one I'll never forget. We were laughing so hard at some scenes, and most of the people in the theater were younger than us. And they were looking back at us like we were crazy, and we felt like the old people. And I knew they got it. They just didn't think it was as funny as we did. But I think Step Brothers gets better with time with most people. But on initial viewing in the theater, that was funny as. Oh man, that was great. Okay,
It took about my third time before I liked it.
just about every Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler movie for that matter. All right. Number 9, this is difficult. Question number 9, favorite guilty pleasure. And some movies I think are just so good that they don't warrant a guilty pleasure. They're just a great movie, and if you don't recognize it as a great movie, you're crazy. But then there are some movies that people see and say, okay, that was horrible. And I know deep down that they've seen it and hate it. One that comes to mind is Hudson Hawk. People have seen that movie and they don't like it. And I think the screenplay for Hudson Hawk can't get any better. It can't get any better than it is. The performances, I love Hudson Hawk. I had to give a shout out to Hudson Hawk, but that's not my number one guilty pleasure.
You know, the director of Hudson Hawk is also secretly the director of my favorite guilty pleasure, which he didn't put his name on it. He called himself Mickey Rose.
Oh yeah,
because he didn't want to be associated with it.
That's my
the producer was Alan Smythe.
That's my number one guilty
But you
pleasure.
put your name on Hudson Hawk, for crying out loud.
But I can't believe that's the same director. So our favorite guilty pleasure is Student Bodies.
Student bodies. Student bodies.
It's a early 80s spoof on horror films.
The first spoof. Screw that Scream crap.
Mm-hmm.
Now I like Scream, but it was not the first
And I
horror
like scary movies.
slasher flick at all.
No, this was the original.
The original.
And the first 50 minutes is the funniest thing ever in the history of the world. And it crashes and burns at the end, but it doesn't matter because
What can you do?
the screenplay is so absurd. And
Brilliant.
we saw it when we were 10 years old, and I don't think we're ever going to be as giddy about a screenplay as this one.
I remember not being I can't wait till we could see like the R version of it.
We were watching the
We
art.
were watching the R version because the only thing that makes it R is one F word in the middle of the movie, which they stopped the movie to.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, oh, you know it. You remember it.
Ladies and gentlemen, in order to receive an R rating today, a motion picture must have either graphic violence, graphic reference to the sex act, or graphic language.
Or full frontal
Or
nudity.
full frontal nudity. Yeah, graphic nudity.
That's what they call it now.
Since this movie has none of those things, and since researchers have proven that R-rated movies are by far the most popular among the American movie-going audience, the producers of this film would like me to take the opportunity to say,
Fuck you.
and they showed you
Rated
rated R, and then they go back to the movie.
There's also a break toward the end when the killer addresses the audience and says, we are experiencing technical
It's
difficulties.
all staticky.
Please stand by. Just kidding. Hi, I'm the breather. You're probably wondering who I am. Who could I be? He starts listing off the characters in the movie.
You should have done that in Twin Peaks. Could I be Benjamin Horne?
Yeah, they did do that with the chalkboard scene in episode 2. You know, that was Lynch's way of reminding everybody, okay, who's involved and who we're supposed to focus on. And the tape player was also a great device for narrating. It was original. You could break down the plot of everything you're about to do, let everybody know what's going on using the tape recorder.
Now, the problem with Student Bodies was it was so ahead of its time.
Yeah.
So ahead of its time. It jumped in right in the middle of Slasher Central from 1980, late 79, 1980, and 1981. Mm-hmm. They had every holiday in the book being made.
Yeah.
And they say this at the beginning of Student Bodies. This movie is based on a true story. They had such amount of horror movies came out last year, and none of them lost money.
Right.
That is based on a true story.
Right.
This is what this movie is based on.
They tell you right out of the gate.
Right out the gate.
We're going to pretend to be a horror movie because so many came out last year and none of them lost money, so we're going to try.
We're going to do it. This movie is so funny if you want to laugh. If you don't want to laugh and you want to think something... If you think a dog meowing and farting is stupid,
don't watch
this movie. but
if you're in a giddy mood and you want to laugh, if you want to giggle...
It tells you when the person makes a mistake. Like, it'll show you. Door unlocked, door unlocked,
right.
Door unlocked.
The woman opens the door and she closes it. And the arrow points.
Creepy music comes
door
in.
Unlocked, door unlocked. Window also unlocked.
Window also open. Window open. And when a person's dead, the body count is bing, 1. Bing, 2.
I wouldn't hurt a fly.
Bing, 6.5. We're not making this movie sound as funny as it is.
This movie's great. It's classic. She answers the
phone. The Ahmad marching band, the finest marching band on this street at this moment.
And the killer's marching too. It's just
he wears rubber galoshes and green rubber gloves. That's all you see of the killer. So suspenseful.
And the people can run up the stairs in like 5 seconds, and it takes him forever. And then he gets his hand and his boot stuck in gum.
He keeps getting stuck in gum.
And after a while,
sugarless.
After a while, he gets stuck in gum. He says, "I'd like to kill the kid with the gum."
He's chasing a girl. Why do they always run away from me? It's the galoshes. They're a dead giveaway. It's not even raining. I don't know why I'm wearing them. My luck. I picked a jogger. And everything gets somebody hot. You have to have sex before you die.
Right. Right. So everything that happens is getting everyone hot, no matter how absurd it is.
Funerals get me hot.
I'm sorry, honey. Hollow wooden pools get me hot. This movie, if you haven't seen Student Bodies, you have to watch it because
I thought you hated eggplant.
Let's talk about sex.
Sex?
Did I pronounce it correctly?
You mean between a man and a woman?
Yes, or the species of your choice. Oh man, don't be so formal, Toby. Call me Daddy. But sometimes sex can be ugly and gross. Yuck. My father.
Your father's name was Yuck? Tell me about your father. Did you like Yuck?
No, I hated him. He used to lock me in a closet with him in it.
Don't call me Daddy anymore. So that's our favorite guilty pleasure. I'm going to throw a shout out to Grease 2. Shout out to Silence of the Hams. He even defies the laws of gravity. Billy Zane as Joe D. Foster. And Dom DeLuise as Hannibal the cannibal. He calls him Clarice. Clarice, listen to me, Clarice. He's like, I'm a man. Was the ham silent?
Oh, God. The Ranger.
Yes. The Ranger was John Astin from the original Addams Family. And everybody would, it was a mix between Silence of the Lambs and Psycho. And it was one of the,
What was the guy's name that owned the hotel?
His name was Antonio?
Antonio. Wait, I don't remember. Antonio Motel.
No. It was the Cemetery Motel. And they said, why do you call your motel after a cemetery? And they said, this is not a motel after a cemetery. This is a cemetery named after a motel. In fact, my name is Antonio Motel.
Silence of the Hams is funny.
Hams can be very silent unless it falls down the stairs. Then it goes boom, 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 boom. But apples can be loud unless you have applesauce.
No, watch Student Bodies instead.
Yeah, watch Student Bodies. You have to see Silence of the Hams, but you have to own Student Bodies.
Yes, you have to own that.
And give it 40 chances.
Okay, and the final question, question number 10.
Took us an hour to do this.
No way. Oh my God. Question number 10, the final question. What is your favorite foreign film?
What if we fucking blow it? We're supposed to make a 20-minute video.
Yeah, we said we'd keep this between 20 and 30 minutes. We didn't want to keep you guys. Oh, man.
Uh-oh. We don't have an editing machine.
No, we don't edit. We do everything live, and we keep it unless one of us really screws up and we can't go any further. And we're definitely not redoing this. I haven't seen enough foreign films. My favorite foreign director is Jean-Pierre Jeunet. I'm Cajun French, even though my family's probably from France. I don't claim French, so Jean-Pierre. And anything he's been involved with, I've loved. And I can't pick my favorite between Amelie and The City of Lost Children. Those are my two favorite foreign films. Amelie and The City of Lost Children.
Yes. Yes.
What's your favorite foreign film?
Growing up. La Femme Nikita. Growing up. Luc Besson. Let the Right One In. Probably the last 10 years. That's been my favorite. But I just saw last year, I saw Train to Busan, and that one is really, 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 really up there. It's my current favorite foreign film. Train to Busan, which is on Netflix, and it's awesome. And that's it for foreign films.
So that was it. Excruciatingly long. But we managed to answer the 10 simple movie questions.
But not simply.
No. So this tells you more about us and what we like. We'll probably do another one about music soon. And we'll be doing more of these films because, like I said, we have fucked up shit awards that we're going to be doing, where every year we give the awards to the people that deserve it. And we've watched at least 250 films in each year that we've done these awards for. So it's not like we're just picking out of 20 movies. We'll do more of those. We'll do one at all eventually.
Yeah.
But
Fucked Up Shit Awards.
Yeah, Fucked Up Shit Awards. So you guys like and subscribe and ring the bell, and you'll be able to tell when we have other videos. This has been.
Let's pull out before 1 minute. 1 hour, I mean.
So this has been Twin Peaks, Twin Perspective, Simple Movie Spot. You dog. I'm Joe.
I'm James.
And thank you for tuning in. Subscribe to Roosevelt 10, and we'll see you in the trees. Bye.